I'm Matěj Skalický, and this is Czech Radio News Podcast, Vinohradská 12. They escaped death, superheroes. Minds took part of their bodies, but not the love for their country. Ukrainian war veterans, they've lost arms, legs, their sight or hearing, yet their determination to return to the front lines and fight remains strong. Olga Rudneva, the CEO of the Superhumans Center in Lviv, knows how the second life of soldiers is born. It's Saturday, June 8th. Hi Olga, thank you very much for finding a few minutes for us. I'm glad you came here in the studio.
Thanks for inviting. It's very important for us to talk about Ukraine.
Give Ukrainians a superhero life they deserve. That's the motto of your rehabilitation center. Who are your superhumans?
Well, we help people who got injuries at the front lines. It's mine and blast trauma, people who stepped on mine, people who got the bomb picked up, the mine. Like we have one patient who picked up the mine from a civilian and he lost an arm and vision and his hearing. Also, we help civilians, those people who stayed close to the front lines and got onto shelling. There are some children in our center, but majority are young people, 25, 40 years old, who are at the beginning of their lives and they lost limbs. We are dealing with double, triple amputation. There are some patients with quadruple amputation in our center. And we also provide services in reconstructive surgery. It's basically face reconstruction.
Plastic surgery?
It's face reconstruction. It's plastic surgery sounds too soft for Ukrainian reality now. So basically it's people who lost the function and aesthetics, people who can't breathe, people who can't swallow. We have a patient who can't close his eyes for 6 months, so he sleeps with open eyes. So you need to restore the function first and then restore the aesthetics.
Mm-hmm. How are they doing mentally? Do you also deal with people who struggle with post-traumatic syndromes?
We have a full service starting from psychological evaluation and psychologist goes with our patient through all the way, and when the patient discharged, we keep him or her on psychological monitoring. Surprisingly, we have a very low level of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, which is surprisingly, we are only 6%. But what our patients are dealing with is a moral injury, which is, basically when you do something that is against your values. For example, you couldn't take your comrade out of the battlefield for some reasons, and that's what bothers you. Or, for example, one of our patients, he was complaining that he feels guilty that he lost his leg and he can't continue his service. And he was like, I feel like I'm a loser. I should have been better prepared for this war. So that kind of trauma. And psychologists work with our patients to help them to go through their emotional experiences as well, because war is a very tough experience for some people who are not prepared for that. And I guess no one is prepared for the war of that intensity.
So the people don't pity themselves, but they are struggling with the thing that they can't be useful for the society at the time they are hospitalized?
Yeah, that's exactly what is happening. And most of our superhumans, they don't feel kind of smashed or they don't feel pity and they don't regret their lost limbs. Some of them say we don't have medals, so our prostheses are our medals. They know what they were fighting for. They were fighting for independence, for freedom, for their territory. So there is no regret about losing a limb, but it's a lot of pain that you can't continue servicing your country. Are
they superheroes, or do you make superheroes at your center?
They are. They just come to us as superheroes, and we know not all of them understand that, because most of them say, I just, did what I had to do. And not like 80% of them, they are not servicemen. They are not military. They had to go to the front lines when the full-scale invasion started. So they are not prepared, not, ready for the war. But the war made heroes out of them.
Who are the experts you need at your center?
We attract a lot of international experience, especially we are looking for specialists in upper limb prosthetics because people normally don't lose upper limbs. Normally they lose lower limbs. And in Ukraine, 45% of all cases, it's upper limbs. And we are lacking prosthetists. Like around the world, it's not enough prosthetists for upper limbs. So we are looking for these specialists. We have a fantastic group of surgeons coming from Czech Republic. They are working at Superhumans and at the governmental facilities. They do face reconstruction and they do surgeries on reamputation. We are very satisfied with the results. So we are looking for high-quality experts in area of face reconstruction, hearing aid, restoring vision, and cranioplastic.
You have mentioned prosthetics.
Yep.
You have your own prosthetic manufacturing facility, is that right?
We produced socket, so-called socket. It's a stump holder, the most sensitive part of the prosthesis. That's where you put your stump. That's individually done for each patient.
So you make them custom?
Yeah. And the components of prosthesis, we buy them because it's a large scale, very expensive, very high-tech production.
But you have facility for making the part of the prosthetics?
Yep.
That's
we have
individually suited?
Yeah.
You have a lab?
Yeah, we have a lab.
You need a lab for that?
You need a lab. It's like 450 square meters.
Really?
And it's a big production because you need to measure the patient, then you have to produce a mold, exact copy of your stump, and then out of that you have to make a stump holder. It's like a shoe, something that should
Stump
be very
holder.
comfortable. Because even a blister can prevent you from using prosthesis. You can have amazing components, but if it's not comfortable, you won't be wearing your prosthesis. So that's what we produce, and we just got our 3D printer. So we might be 3D printing some of the parts like fingers, stump holders or orthoses. So we'll be doing that in-house.
What material do you use for the stump holders? Is that a plastic?
It's plastic and it's carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber.
First one, which is temporary, is plastic, and the black one, the cool one, is a carbon fiber.
Do you also work with bionic prosthetics?
We do. It's myoelectric prosthesis. It's something that is actually you can manage it with your muscles. So you have to have a signal in your muscles. For example, for the hand, we find the signal, and that's where we put the special parts of the prosthesis. And then you have to remember what muscles you have to actually exercise to do different grabs.
So, beg your pardon, you can control the prosthetic with your mind?
No, with your muscles.
But you control your muscles with your mind.
In reality, yeah, that's how it actually happens. But right now it's a lot of developments and a lot of R&D in the area where you would directly control by your mind without thinking what kind of muscles I have to actually work to do, to take a glass of water. Because it's 30 muscles that actually you need to take a glass of water or to shake a hand. So you have to remember that. And then it becomes automatically. But as a matter of fact, yeah, you control it with your mind.
Psychological help, prosthetic lab. What other rooms I can find in your center?
Rehabilitation. It's a whole floor. Rehabilitation, ergotherapy kitchen. That's where you have to learn how to cook, how to clean. Ergotherapy bath, where you learn how to get to the bathroom by yourself, how to take a shower, how to do, washing procedures. We have hydrotherapy. It's a swimming pool because it takes off up to 80% of your weight. So you can swim there. Hearing aid department, because every third patient have problems with hearing.
And some vision room or
not yet, but we're moving there. We have 3D department where we have our amazing 3D printers, inpatient department for 70 beds, surgery rooms, 2 very cool surgery rooms, intensive care unit rooms where people stay after the surgery, some small tennis courts, and
for some sport activities.
Yeah, a lot of sport activities.
That's a part of rehabilitation, right?
And the boys' room. Boys' room is where guys are hiding from us when they're sick and tired of rehabilitation.
PlayStation and stuff.
Exactly.
The rehabilitation, that's the key for returning to a normal life?
It is. You can have the best prosthesis, but if you don't know how to walk and how to operate with the prosthesis, you probably won't wear it. 60% of those people who have their prosthesis never use them because they are either uncomfortable or you've never been taught how to walk, how to operate the prosthesis. So rehabilitation takes, very big part of the whole thing when we basically teach people again how to walk, how to grab a glass of water, how to hug the person you love, how to make a proposition to your girlfriend.
How long is that journey for the people who suffered injury?
If it's easy amputation, how we call it, below the knee or below the elbow, because it's very cool when the elbow is saved or the knee is saved. It's 2-3 weeks. It's quite quick. And these people walk better than I do. Yeah, it's, some guys in the center say that they basically came to us to pick up the new shoes,
That surprises me.
But with triple, double amputation, with high amputations, it can take up to 4 months for the person to learn how to walk, how to be independent, how to do everything by themselves.
According to the Ukrainian Ministry of Social Policy, since February 2022, the number of Ukrainians with disabilities has risen by 300,000. How many people have you helped since February 22?
We are quite small. The number of people who lost limbs is 40,000 in Ukraine as of February 2023, but it's 60,000 limbs, so it's double, triple amputations. We discharged 500 patients, which is, we are the biggest center in Ukraine that provides prosthesis. But in terms of the whole Ukraine, it's a very small number. We have 700 people in line for our services, and we are working 6 days per week to provide more people with a prosthesis, rehabilitation, and psychological support. And we are scaling up to 2 more regions, so we can do more patients per month because the demand is so high.
Can you be more specific of the areas that your patients come from?
It's very, we can feel each wave at the front lines. So we had a wave from Bakhmut when we had a lot of patients from Bakhmut. We still have patients from Mariupol who were injured at Azovstal, and they were in the medical facilities for 2 years because of infection, amputation, and different complications of the amputations. Right now, it's Kharkiv region, which is shelled intensively. Donetsk region. We are very much dependent on the situation at the front line. Where the biggest fights are happening, this is where the patient comes from.
You also help people who have been injured in other ways than combat, right?
Yeah.
What kind of injuries are we talking about?
Same amputations, people who lost their limbs, people who have disfigured faces due to mine and blast trauma, kids who lost their limbs due to shellings. So basically it's civilians who didn't leave their houses and were very close to the front lines, or civilians from Kharkiv Oblast, from Vuhledar, from, parts where it's, a lot of shellings. And also we provide prosthesis for Foreign Legion, because they're not covered by insurance in their own country, and they are not provided by prosthesis by Ukrainian government because they're not Ukrainian citizens. So we have guys from Colombia, Georgia, Poland, United States, from all over the world.
And is it different to treat a soldier and a civilian?
It is. Motivation is different.
Motivation is different.
Yeah. Soldiers are more motivated. They are open to work hard. They are younger, and a lot of them dream to come back to the front lines. Not all of them will be able. Most of them want to be able to return to the front lines, but it's much easier to work with them. Psychologically,
yeah, I get that. In an interview with The Gaze, you mentioned that your patients laugh when someone says get well soon.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, because you can't regrow your leg, you can't regrow your arm. So no one is sick in our center. We don't deal with sick people. We deal with people who lost their abilities, and our work to bring back their lost abilities. So we often say that we are not a medical entity. We are a center that returns people that are lost abilities. So you're not in a hospital. You're not sick. So you can't get well. You're well already. You're fine.
Yeah, but am I a patient, after all?
No,
if
you're
I'm
not
sick, so I'm not a patient.
No, you're not. Well, that's what we're trying to say. You're not sick. And you don't act like a sick person. You act like an active person who wants to come back to an active life. It's a philosophy.
But you refer to the people you treat and you help in your center as prototypes of the future.
Yeah, they are. Listen, if we want to live long, and we do, like 100 years, our body won't be able to actually stand it because our body is very fragile. So we will start substituting parts of our body with prostheses, and it's already happening with joints, for example. You know, joints are also prostheses. We just don't see them. So, you know, it's our future. They are testing the future. So I believe that in 50 years, we'll see a lot of people with a prosthesis just because it's more efficient to have a prosthesis instead of your tired leg. So we have a lot of jokes about that, but it's about longevity, first of all, and it's a lot of money going in the prosthetic area because it's about longevity. It's about the fact that we all want to live longer and our body resists. So let's hack our body.
Do you joke about it often?
Oh, yeah. We have a lot of jokes in Superhumans.
Is it easier to deal with what you're dealing at the center with some humor?
The thing is, when the person starts joking about his or her trauma, that means that he or her already digested the trauma. He can speak freely about that. You know, when the person is crying over a lost leg, that means he's not at the point when he is ready to, you know, to renovation. So in the center, it's a lot of jokes. Black humor is our favorite. But, you know, I mean, you lost your leg, so what you can do about that? So you can laugh about it, you know, only.
You're still alive.
It, yeah. You're still alive, yeah. That's the most important part.
Is there anything you can't do?
I can't bring Irina, who was killed yesterday at the front lines. And we talked with her, and she told me that Superhumans gave her hope that if she would lose her leg, we will help her. And yesterday she was killed. So I can't help her. You know, I can't help people who are, you know, will never be verticalized, who have spine injury. We are not working with these patients, so they're going to be paralyzed for the rest of their life. I can't help them. I can't help those people who don't want to walk. And there are some people, we are all different. Not everyone wants prosthesis, not everyone wants active life. And there are some people who are okay in a wheelchair, okay drinking at home. I can't help them. You know, they have to be the first initiators of their changes. They have to come to me and say, listen, I want to walk. I want to hug my child. I want to play basketball again. I want to travel the world. I want to go back to the front lines. They have to bring this motivation and this desire to me. And I will do everything I can to assist them in that. But if they don't want to do that, no one can do.
What's the life like for your superhumans once they leave your center?
It depends what they choose to do. We have a couple of guys who open their own business, and these guys with double amputation of upper limbs, and they open their business. Some guys just had families, kids, and that's amazing. We welcome them from maternity houses, their wives, and it's amazing to see new superhumans born. They travel the world because they start treasuring their limbs. They often say that, listen, I never treasured my limbs because it was given to me for granted. As a normal thing, you know, it goes with you always, and you don't use it because it's always with you. When you lose it, you start appreciating that. So they're becoming very active. Three of our superhumans went to the United States for the competition of Air Force guys, and they brought 11 medals from there, and a girl. So they are very active. They play golf. We have our own kayaking team. Great. We do mountain climbing. They do fishing every Saturday. They do horse riding. So their life became, for some of them, more interesting because, you know, your second life starts when the first one is finished. And the first one was finished when they lost their limbs, when they were saved from the front lines. And now they are more appreciating what they have.
Do you have people who return back to your center after they've already...
Yeah, they return every 3 months. If they change weight, they change dimension of their stumps. And that does happen at the first year because when you start walking intensively, you start losing weight. So they have to come to us to change the stump holder. So we see them every 3 months and we know where they are, what they do. So we follow our patients. We know, and some of them return to the front lines. We don't like when they go to the front lines, but we always tell them, if you lose another arm, you know where to go. And they laugh.
Thank you very much for what you're doing.
We do it for our country, and it brings us a lot of joy and pleasure because we see the results of what we do, and we know what we do and for whom.
Thank you very much, Olga.
Thank you.
And that's all for today. I spoke to Olga Rudneva, the head of the Superhumans Center in Lviv. Thanks for listening.